USS General LeRoy Eltinge, Ap-154, was a General Geo Squier-class transport ship for the U.S. Navy in World War II. She was named in honor of U.S. Army General LeRoy Eltinge. She was transferred to the U.S. Army as USAT General LeRoy Eltinge in 1946. On July 20, 1950, she was transferred to the Military Sea Transportation Service, MSTS, as USNS General LeRoy Eltinge, Ap-154. She was later sold for commercial use and operated under the names SS Robert Eltinge and SS Robert Toombs, before being scrapped in 1980. General LeRoy Eltinge, Ap-154, was launched September 20, 1944 by Kaiser Shipbuilding Company, Inc., Yard 3, Richmond, California, sponsored by Mrs. James McLeod, acquired by the Navy and commissioned February 21, 1945, Captain W. Wakefield in command. After shakedown out of San Diego, General LeRoy Eltinge departed San Pedro March 23 with 3,100 troops for Calcutta, India, arriving 27 April Viaduct, Melbourne, Australia. Underway May 7 with more troops, she debarked some at Tinian and others at Guam, before arriving San Francisco June 27 with 1,161 troops embarked at Pearl Harbor. She sailed June 20 for Magic Carpet duty in the Atlantic, arriving Norfolk July 14. Between July 30 and September 14, she made 2 round trips from Norfolk to Marseille, France, to transport 6,206 homebound veterans. On September 29, she departed Norfolk for Karachi, India, where she embarked veterans for Magic Carpet passage to the United States, arriving New York November 11. Clearing New York November 29 for further duty in the Pacific, General LeRoy Eltinge carried replacement troops to the Canal Zone, proceeded to Shanghai in the Philippines, and returned to Seattle, Washington, January 26, 1946, with veterans embarked at Manila. On a voyage from March 3 to April 6, she carried rotation troops to Korea and returned veterans to Seattle, before departing April 27 for New York. She arrived May 13, decommissioned May 29, was returned to the Maritime Commission and stricken from the Navy list June 1946. In 1949, the General LeRoy Eltinge was used to transport immigrants from displaced persons camps of World War II. Reacquired July 20, 1950, from Maritime Commission, General LeRoy Eltinge joined MSTS August 1 while operating in the Western Pacific. After joining MSTS, she participated in several major troop and refugee operations. For more than a year, she transported troops from Seattle and San Francisco to Japan and Korea. In October 1951, she supported the International Refugee Program, making 2 trips from New York to Bremerhaven, Germany. The following year, she made several runs for the United Nations, including the transportation of Dutch troops from Rotterdam to Korea. During 1953, she carried additional refugees from Bremerhaven to New York and transported Ethiopian and Greek troops to Korea. Her MSTS service continued until she was placed in reduced operational status November 26, 1955 at New York. General LeRoy Eltinge resumed operations between the United States and Europe May 18, 1956. Following the Hungarian Revolution October 23 to November 4, 1956, she supported the Refugee Relief Program, and during December she embarked several thousand refugees at Bremerhaven for passage to the United States. The 2007 documentary film Freedom Dance, which follows artist Edward Hilbert and his wife, Judy, during their escape from Hungary, includes an account of this voyage of General LeRoy Eltinge. The ship suffered through a large storm during the crossing of the Atlantic. From May to September 1957, she made UN runs to Turkey and Thailand. After the Lebanon crisis of July 1958, she conducted 2 voyages to Beirut during October to return troops to France and Germany. General LeRoy Eltinge had the distinction of hauling the final load of troops out of Beirut. She continued to operate in support of UN programs through 1959. While en route from New York to Izmir, Turkey, and under the command of Captain John C. Niesenhuis, August 24, 1960, she assisted in the rescue of 26 survivors from SS Halcyon Mediterranean, which had collided with tanker SS Switzerland off the coast of Spain. Returning to New York September 1, she again assumed reduced operational status September 26. Following the outbreak of violence in the Belgian Congo in July 1960, General LeRoy Eltinge departed New York February 20, 1961 to support the UN peace mission. After lifting a cargo of famine relief supplies to Pointe Noire, Congo Republic March 11, she steamed, via Cape Town, South Africa, to Port Swettenham, Malaya, and Bombay, India to embark 1207 troops for the Union Congo operations. Departing Bombay April 15, she debarked troops and supplies at Mombasa, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanganyika. After operating along the African coast from Nigeria to South Africa, she was released from UN operations and departed Cape Town for the United States May 13, arriving New York May 30. She returned to reduced operational status June 29. Departing New York July 16, 1962, she sailed via the Panama Canal to San Francisco, where she arrived August 1 to resume reserve status. In response to the mounting crisis in South Vietnam, she returned to service May 13, 1965 and embarked from Oakland, California 2,497 troops of the 101st Airborne Division, an engineering battalion, the 510th Engineer Company, Maintenance DS, for Southeast Asia. Painted entirely gray, and not in the best of condition, the ship lost all power on 7 occasions and was stranded at sea until it was towed to Midway Island. The troops were allowed to disembark for one afternoon and relax on the beach. They waited for another World War II carrier to take them to Cam Ranh Bay, Vietnam, after stops in Manila and Subic Bay, the Philippines. One of the paratroopers, and many others, wondered what battle General Eltinge had lost to have such an apparently sorry ship named after him. In late November 1965, General LeRoy Eltinge again supported the U.S. escalation in South Vietnam and Southeast Asia through sea lifts of men and supplies from West Coast ports to the Far East. Her cargo included the 1st Infantry Division, the first full infantry division transported to the Vietnam War. Along with the more than 1,500 infantry troops were selected members of the 519th Military Intelligence Battalion from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. In September 1966, the Eltinge transported the 2nd Battalion, 175 mm, 94th Field Artillery from San Francisco to Da Nang, Vietnam with a stop at Okinawa. She returned to San Francisco in January 1967, underwent overhaul, was transferred to the Maritime Commission, and was placed in ready reserve status as part of the National Defense Reserve Fleet. In 1968, General LeRoy Eltinge was sold for commercial use to Waterman Carriers Incorporated of New York and rebuilt as a 10,562 gross ton general cargo ship at Portland. In December 1969 she was renamed SS Robert E. Lee, and she was renamed Robert Toombs in September 1973. In April 1980 the ship was scrapped at Kaohsiung, Taiwan.